Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda. We'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to another live episode of Viewers Pulse. And I'm your host for the program, Junaid Dar. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you this program here on the 29th of the 3rd of the year 2016. Furthermore, dear viewers, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for bringing us together to serve His beautiful deen. Not just that, but I would also like to extend my hand out to all the viewers and thank them greatly for their continual support to make this channel a success and for making this program in particular an interactive, successful program also. Dear viewers, Viewers Pulse is your program. This is an hour for you to communicate with us, to bring forward any ideas that you would like to bring forward. Not just that, but it's your opportunity. You have a whole hour to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can give us any kind of concepts, ideas or views that you have, and we can try our very best to try to implement them. So it's an opportunity for you to get engaged here live in this program for this whole hour. Not just that, but dear viewers, we also look forward to hearing your comments, your questions, your queries, even if you have positive, and I say positive criticism, please bring it forward and we will try our very best to answer them and discuss them here live on air. We have so many different ways in which we can do that, but the most important thing which we try our very best to bring forward is to explain to ourselves that Huda TV is your channel. It's a channel where we are serving the deen of Al-Islam together. We and you together are trying to bring forward programs, ideas, interviews, live programs, recorded programs, all for the service of Allah, all for the service of this beautiful deen. And inshallah ta'ala, we as well as yourselves are trying to seek the rewards of these actions. Now, how can you give us your questions? How can you give us your queries? How can you get in touch with us? That's the question. The first way in which you can do that is through the phone. The most direct and most easiest way. Pick up your phone and you can call us. You can see the numbers there running across the screen. If you're calling from outside of Egypt, then please don't forget to use the code which is inside the brackets there, 002. So please do call us and your call will come direct into the studio and I will try my very best to answer your question or your query. If I'm unable to do so, then we will direct it to those who are more qualified. So please do call us and please do get engaged. Now, our second mode of communication, if you're unable to get to your phone, you can always jump onto your computer or your phone or whatever device that you're holding in your hand and you can send us an email. And our email address, as you can see there on your screens, is pulse@huda.tv. And please do send us your emails. We have a dedicated team, a professional team that looks into your emails and responds at the quickest possible time that they can. Your emails as well as your Facebook messages, anything that you bring forward, they work very hard to respond accurately and promptly. So please do send us those. And I have a list of some of your emails that we've gathered over the last week. So inshallah ta'ala, in due course, I will be reading through those and I will try to give you the answers or the solutions to some of the problems that you presented in your emails. So don't forget that. Now, the third mode of communication, and this is one of my personal favorites. If you jump onto Facebook and you type in Huda TV, you will see our fantastic Facebook page, and it's one of my favorites. And why do I say that? It's because it's so interactive. It's because it's so bright, it's so wonderful, it's so colorful that you can't help but stay on it and read what's on there and engage from different conversations to different links. It's fantastic. You can be linked from one particular article to another. You will see regular reminders on there. You will see verses of the Quran. You will see statements of the beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, all on our Facebook page. So please do join us. And not just that, but it gives me great joy, absolute happiness to say that mashallah, we have reached up to 280,000 likes. SubhanAllah, my dear brothers and sisters, we are edging on to 1/3 of a million, 300,000. That's so amazing. I want all of you, please to engage in our Facebook page, to share this page with your friends and your families, to spread it, not just because of the likes, but also because of the good work that is put into this page. There are so many people contributing on a daily basis, trying to bring forward positivity. So please do share this Facebook page with your friends and with your families. And you can see it there across your screens. MashaAllah, it's such an active page. You can see the frequency there. You can join in through the vertical frequency, through Nilesat, and you can also watch us through the internet. So please do join us on that page. Our personal page for this program is Viewers Pulse, so don't forget to join us on that, where you will see our topic of the day and our discussion that we'll be having here. So please do join us and like us and share the page. Now, what's one of the key features on this page? It's our link to the official Huda TV webpage. Now, our official page is Huda TV, and I strongly recommend everybody to go visit this page. Why do I say that? Because you will see our itinerary. You will see all our programs listed with accordance to time. So you can choose the programs that you want to watch or those that suit your timetable. You have programs running 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, and they are fantastic. So do take advantage of that. Not just that, but our official page gives you some background information on those scholars or students of knowledge who are working with the channel in front of the cameras, as well as behind the cameras, giving us their moral support and making dua for us. You will see it all there. Not just that, but you'll also see some information about the presenters. What do they get up to behind the cameras and that. So there's another aspect on our page, our official page, and that's a section for sisters. There is a proportion there where there are articles and information linking or discussing matters pertaining to our sisters. So please do jump into our official page for the TV and do enjoy the different items and articles that are there to be read. Now, another mode of communication, dear viewers, is through Twitter. If you jump onto Twitter and type in Huda TV channel, and I strongly recommend you to subscribe to that, you will see so many benefits from that. And the main benefit for jumping onto Twitter is that it will link you to our Facebook page. Anything that goes on our Facebook page will be bleeped onto your Twitter. You'll be kept in constant contact with the activities of Huda TV. Any new program, any new ideas, any new comments, any words of wisdom from our respected scholars will come straight through onto your Twitter account. And actually, I have some of these quotations from the scholars that support Huda TV, and I will read you those in due course as well, so stay tuned for that. Furthermore, our next mode of communication, and I would say this is the most important, and that's through YouTube. Dear viewers, jump up onto YouTube and type in Huda TV. You will see our official YouTube page. Now, why do I say it's the most important? Because we are a TV channel. So you can see all of our programs there, 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, absolutely free. All you've got to do is click on the live streaming button and you will see everything there for free. Not just that, but you will see our programs from the past, an archive of all of our programs according to date, according to subject. So you can choose what you want to watch. You can engage in discussions on our YouTube page. We have the comment sections which are always open, allowing for people to have free and fair discussions and comments, and we welcome all sorts of comments. So do put your comments there, and we will try our very best to engage in a discussion, and inshallah it will be fruitful, and we like to hear from you at the same time. So that's our official YouTube page, and you can see that they're running across your screens. So do engage in that and do take advantage of our live streaming, which is, in my opinion, absolutely fantastic. Wherever you are, you can sit there and watch our programs. Now, our last mode of communication, and that brings me to Skype. And our Skype address is Huda_TV. So please do jump onto Skype and do befriend us, and we will accept your friend request. And we hopefully, in most of the occasions, we are green, so you can talk to us at any time. You can have a discussion through text, or you can make a voice phone call, and we can have a discussion on anything that you would like to talk about, be it a suggestion, be it a criticism, anything. We are more than welcome, and we love open, free and fair discussion, and this is one of the beauties of Huda TV. So please do join us in all those different modes, and we hopefully will be able to respond to you. Now, dear viewers, that brings me to the next portion of this program, and that really requires you to use those modes of communication. What is that? That is the topic of the day. And today the topic is one of my personal favorites. You know what it is? How many of you have jumped up onto Facebook and seen our Viewers Pulse page? Have you seen the picture of those beautiful children? Those beautiful children jumping on their backs of their father and their mother and playing, smiling. What do you think is the topic? Of course, today we are discussing parenting, or raising our children according to the Quran and to the Sunnah. This is a challenge in this modern time. Many a parent today are complaining about the difficulties that they are faced with when it comes to their children. You can see the images there running across your screen. Indeed, Allah created children with a pure nature, and whatever defects that sink in later on are due to the number of reasons. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that every child is born on fitrah, a natural disposition, but it is later his parents and his environment that make him either a Jew or a Christian or a fire worshipper. Not just that, but Islam commands the parents to take care of their children and to bring them up according to Islamic manners. Allah the Almighty has entrusted parents with their children. Therefore, parents bear the responsibility to raise up their children in the Islamic way. If they do so, they will be, Allah willing, blessed in this life and in the hereafter. If they don't, they may see the bad results of it during their life, and Allah forbid, in the hereafter. So dear viewers, we see the great responsibility, the amana, the trust Allah has given us in our children. Furthermore, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is reported to have said that كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ, that every one of you is a shepherd and he is responsible for his flock, meaning that the father is responsible for his wife and his children, meaning that the wife is responsible for her husband's household and the children. Everybody has a responsibility, and this responsibility must be fulfilled. But dear brothers and sisters, we understand that this is a grave responsibility, and we understand that Allah and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has told us about the virtues of doing such a deed. Let me give you one of those. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is reported to have said, and this is really beautiful when you read this particular narration, that whoever has a daughter, let me reiterate that, whoever has a daughter and tutors her on good deeds and good morals, educates her well, and feeds her properly, then the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect this person from the punishment of the hellfire. SubhanAllah. Look at the honor that Allah gives in looking after, protecting, educating our daughters, let alone our sons. This is an amana from Allah that we must protect them and look after them. That's the positive side. Those are things that encourage you to do good things. What about the other side, that if we become slack and if we don't teach our children and we don't give them that which they deserve? Did not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara, that, O you who believe, save yourself. First and foremost, save yourself and then your families from the fire. Allah is warning us here that if we become complacent and we don't do justice to our children, then we, as well as our families, could be possibly entering into the hellfire. So we can see both sides. We can see the advantage if we do give them the education. And at the same time, if we become neglectful, we can see the punishment that is awaiting us as well. And that is the nature of an amana, a trust. Dear viewers, there are many people who spend much time with their children, giving them the best of education, giving them the best of morals, giving them the best of time, and mashallah, they do turn out to be real fruits for this ummah. But at the same time, when we look at the present situation, we will find the opposite, and we will find some disturbing realities. Unfortunately, we find that many of our young Muslims are involved in crime. Many of our young Muslims are involved in drugs. Many of our young Muslims have a very bad record of education. They are not at the highest levels when it comes to their respective countries or their education systems. So my question to you, my dear viewers, and this is what I want to hear, is what is going wrong and how can we save our children from this disaster? How can we make them the best of children? How can we make them the leaders of the future? So the phone lines are open, so please do give me your calls, and I'm willing to hear anything that you have to say. So please do call me here live in the studio. The numbers are there across your screen. And if you're unable to get to your phone, as mentioned, please jump onto Facebook and go to Viewers Pulse, and you will see the image there of the children with their parents. Leave us a comment And inshallah ta'ala, I will do my very best to read out those comments live in the program, and hopefully we can take the discussion further. So, dear viewers, the topic is very important, and we need to understand how we can possibly educate our children in the best way, make them the best examples that the Prophet ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to do so. Let me give you some very small tips or some small ideas that could possibly direct us in the right way. One of those methods in how we can instill good upbringing in our children is by showing them the virtues of good deeds. Not just that, but also showing them the effects of bad deeds. So when you show your child, your son or your daughter, a good deed and how it affects the society. So for example, let's say you take your child to the masjid and they see people coming, praying together collectively, bowing down to a higher power, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they see the happiness on people's faces. They see how people greet one another, how they come forward and hug and shake hands. This will have a positive impact in their lives, and they will understand that which is good. If you look on the other side, something negative in society, so if you look at, for example, the effects of drugs in society, and you show your child that this is vice, this is something that Allah does not want, He's not happy with, and they see the effects of this on other people, or they see the effect of it on one's health, on the society, how it cripples the society, then they will understand the nature of a good deed, and they will understand the nature of a bad deed. So that's one possible solution, one possible method in which we can teach our children or give them the upbringing that is required. Now, another possible method, and let's see if you agree with me, that of the good example. My dear viewers, how many times is it that the child, not just a child, but even ourselves as grown adults, we are looking for a role model. We are looking for that one person who can direct us, that one person who we can copy in their manners, in their etiquettes, in their strength, when they're speaking and when they present themselves. We're all looking for this perfect role model. And who is the role model for our children? Of course, it's the parents, the mother as well as the father. Anything the mother will do, the child will automatically copy that. Anything the father will do, the child will automatically copy that and will become accustomed to that. So it's very important that we as parents try our very best to be the best examples that we can. We must be conscious of what we say so that we are not lying. So if the phone rings and someone's asking for daddy, daddy doesn't say that he's not at home, to make the child feel that this kind of lying is acceptable. That one must train themselves, train the child to that which is good, and we must be conscious of the things that we do. So what's your feeling? What's your opinion? Do you feel that a good example is one of the vital things that really bring forward a positive tarbiyah, a positive education inside of the child? Not just that, but the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us tarbiyah from a very young age. He taught us how we can educate our children in the correct way, in the best possible manner. Now, the Prophet ﷺ taught us that we should teach our children to pray at the age of 7. Now, we all know that as Muslims, we are not responsible for our actions until we become mature, until we become responsible adults. But that's at the age of puberty, so once one has gone past puberty. Now, if a child at the age of 7 who has not gone through puberty, but the Prophet ﷺ has said that order your children to the prayer at the age of 7. What's the wisdom behind that? Why would the Prophet ﷺ tell us to teach our children the prayer at such a young age? Yes, of course, my dear brothers and sisters, the Prophet is telling us to accustom our children to the prayer. Once they get to the level of maturity and then you try to put prayer into their minds, into their bodies, obviously it will become a difficult practice. But if you train them from a young age where they see mommy and daddy praying, they will become accustomed to it. The same thing when it comes to the hijab, for example. If you leave them to wear what they wear and feel free in their dress and wait until they become mature, then maybe at that time it will be a difficult thing to grasp or concept or to put into action. So the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ by telling us to order our children to pray at the age of 7 is that of tarbiyah, is that to give them a good education. Dear viewers, we're going to take a very short break here, and then when we come back, inshallah ta'ala, we'll continue with our program and we'll look at some of our emails that we have and also look at some of the quotations from our scholars. So I'll see you in just a few moments.
people judge Islam based on what the Muslims do. The fact is, Islam is perfect, but the Muslims are not. However, it is not hard for us to implement, and there are ways for us to be the ideal Muslims. Join me, Dr. Rayyan Arab, in this new program, The Ideal Muslim, so that we could discover the ways of how we could be ideal Muslims.
Why are we fighting each other? Life is short, time runs away.
Hoda TV strives to remain the premier English language Islamic channel in the world. And to do so, we need your input. Send us your thoughts, suggestions and feedback through email at feedback@hoda.tv. Hoda TV is committed to helping others, so why not help Hoda TV share the message of Islam worldwide? Take part in helping spread the authentic message of Islam based on the Quran and the Sunnah throughout the world by sponsoring Hoda TV. Don't miss this unique opportunity to gain the reward from Allah.
This is the Deen Show. 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 This is the Deen Show.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Deen Show. From time to time, we answer some of your questions. We have so many important issues that we're dealing with here on the Deen Show, and we encourage you to come back here every week. And if you don't catch us on the TV station, you can go to thedeenshow.com where all of our shows are there.
It is important for us when we look at the issue of holiday myths that we look at the whole picture. And from the beginning of time, people worshipped the Creator in different ways. The Quran tells us in the chapter of the Bee, Surah An-Nahl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ.
Maryam, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for being with us on the Deen Show.
You're welcome.
So how old are you again?
I'm 8 years old.
I didn't want to get that wrong. 8 years old. And you've memorized how many juz of the Quran?
I memorized 21 juz from the Quran.
21 juz. MashaAllah.
As you know that there is no concept of clergyman in Islam.
There isn't?
There is not.
Okay.
And this idea is supposed to be very liberating. Nobody comes between you and your Creator.
Okay.
You do not need an operator. It's a direct call. So Islam rejects the whole notion of clergyman. So a sheikh, imam is a title that is given to a person like myself when the community feels that you're worthy of it. And it's just a title out of respect.
This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, here on our live program, Viewers Pulse, where we have so much to discuss, and our topic of the day is open for everybody to contribute, talking about parenting, raising children up correctly according to the Islamic teaching. So please do get involved. You have our phone lines, callers, give us your questions here live on air, and also you have our Facebook page. Go to Viewers Pulse and you will see the image there of parenting, and leave us your comments, and I will try my very best to read your comments here live on the program. But before we do that, as promised, I do have some of your emails, so let me read those and try my best to give you a response. So our first email comes from Sister Shafa Muhammad. She says, I like your station, it is very nice and very beneficial. Thank you very much, Sister Shafa. That's a very beautiful email, encouragement for us to continue doing our work that we do. And we ask you to continue to make prayer for us, make dua for us that we improve. And give us your suggestions as well, that see if there is any particular topic that you would like to hear discussed. We'll try to produce that, or any particular type of program. Is there any ideas that you have or you would like to see? Give us that in email. We'll try our best to improve our TV channel even more. Our next email comes from Naku Muhammad, who says, Assalamu alaikum, may Allah reward you for the light you put in our home. Sana Javed. Okay, so mashallah, Brother Nakodo is saying that he is very happy Huda TV has put light in his home, and that's obviously our slogan. So we are trying our very best to put light in everybody's home through the best means that we can. Now, our third email goes to Sister Sana, and she says, will the show be live today, referring to Ask Huda? Unfortunately, today, Ask Huda will not be a live program, but we will be having a recorded program, and you will see it's a new program, so you will see Ask Huda then. But the live program of Ask Huda will be starting very shortly, so stay tuned for that. Our next email comes from Sister Farishta Musla, and she says, Assalamu alaikum. Why don't you present your programs with subtitles? It becomes more understandable for non-English speakers. Thank you. So Sister Farishta is asking for subtitles. I think that's a fantastic idea. Do you mean subtitles in English for further clarity, or do you mean subtitles in Arabic so that the Arabic audience can understand the English and possibly learn vice versa? I think it's a fantastic idea. Maybe for the live programs that'll be a little bit difficult, but for the recorded programs, I totally agree. Let's put that forward to our team and let's see what they can come out with. Okay, our next email goes to Brother Isa, and he says, Assalamu alaikum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Huda TV, you guys are doing a great job, mashallah. Brother Isa, it's only through Allah's success and through your prayers that we are able to achieve the goals that we are achieving. We ask you to continually remember us in your prayers, and we, inshallah ta'ala, will try our very best to work to the best of our abilities, those in front of the camera as well as those behind the cameras, to produce the best quality programs that we can. Now, our final email goes to Brother Ali Abdullah, and he mentions, Assalamu alaikum, I would like to know how to keep focused during prayer, or is there something I should be focusing on to keep myself from drifting off to another thought? That's a beautiful question. How many of us, many times we are physically in prayer, doing all the actions, but our mind and our heart is somewhere else. Maybe in our studies, maybe in our business, maybe thinking about what we're going to buy when we go home, the bread or the milk. But we need to be focused on prayer. And how can we do that? Brother Ali is asking. Let me just give some general pieces of advice, and you can read more on the subject. First and foremost, I think by understanding what you are doing. If you give Surah Al-Fatiha, which we must read in every part of our prayer, if you just give that due time and read the meanings of Surah Al-Fatiha, just 7 verses. Listen to what you are saying. Understand that this is the conversation between you and your Lord. And every time you read a verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responding to that verse. You are in conversation with Allah Azza wa Jal. And the verses as well talk about the beauty of Islam, talking about your connection with Allah. And the small surahs as well that you read after the Fatiha, read their meanings, and I'm sure 100% that your iman will increase and you will feel that closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just that, but also I would recommend that when you are in prayer, try to keep focused on a fixed place in front of you. Look at the place where you're possibly prostrating doing your sujood. Try not to look everywhere, left, right, up, down. No, keep focused and think about the things that you are saying. Think about the things that you are reading. And most importantly, and this is my last piece of advice on this matter, is most importantly that the Prophet ﷺ told us very explicitly that the first question that Allah is going to ask us on Yawm al-Qiyamah is about what? It's about the prayer. It's about our salah, our prayer. And if this question is answered correctly, then the rest is going to be easy. But if we struggle with this question, may Allah protect us from that, then the rest is going to be more and more difficult. So I advise myself, and then to Brother Ali and those listening, that when we are praying, we try to concentrate, and we try to think about what we are doing, and remember that Allah is going to ask us about this prayer. Dear viewers, that brings us to the end of your emails, and I thank all of you for sending us those beautiful comments, beautiful questions, and beautiful suggestions about using subtitles. And inshallah ta'ala, we will see what we can do with that. Now, dear viewers, let's have a look at something new we're going to present to you today. MashaAllah, Huda TV has a number of different scholars from around the world working with them very closely, producing programs, making dua for us, giving us words of wisdom. And with me today, I have a number of different quotations coming from these scholars, and they have given us these explicitly for Huda TV. So I want to read out these comments if I could, and hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, benefit you with the words of wisdom from our scholars. The first comes from Sheikh Abdul Rahman McCarthy, and he says, Abdul Rahim McCarthy, sorry about that. He says, the best way to teach your children is by being a positive role model yourself. What a beautiful comment, and that is perfect for our topic of the day. So let's take those words of wisdom from our respected scholar, Abdul Rahim McCarthy, telling us to be role models for our children. Fantastic. Let's move over to our second quote, and that comes from our very own Dr. Muhammad Salah, who is a regular on our channel, and mashallah ta'ala benefits us greatly. And he says something very nice. Imagine how valuable is the sunnah before Fajr, then how great will be Fajr prayer itself. And he mentions the narration of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, رَكَعَتَا الْفَجْرِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَمَا فِيهَا, which in translation, that the 2 rak'ah before the dawn Fajr prayer is better than this world and all that it contains. SubhanAllah, that verse is absolutely amazing, especially for those who are struggling with their Fajr prayer. Those 2 units, the Sunnah prayers, Sheikh Muhammad Salah is telling us about the 2 Sunnah prayers before the actual obligatory prayer, that those 2, you pray those 2, then the Prophet ﷺ said the reward of that is better than everything that dunya contains. So subhanAllah, we thank Dr. Muhammad Salah for his beautiful comment. Okay, let's move over to the next scholar that works with us here on Huda TV, and that is our respected scholar Asim Al-Hakim. And as you know, he has a beautiful program with us talking about contemporary issues, which I strongly recommend everyone to watch, presented by our respected presenter Arqam Rashid, and it's of great value. And he says, the best of friends are those who never remind you of your mistakes, as if it never happened, and would never remind you of their favors upon you. SubhanAllah. We know that the Prophet ﷺ said that the friends are a reflection of you. If you have good friends, you're most likely going to be a good person. If you have bad friends, most likely you're going to be a bad person. So Asim al-Hakim is telling us about the importance of having good companions, and not just that, but he's also talking about covering one's mistakes. Having that satr, that cover, that if you see your fellow Muslim make a mistake, don't announce it to the world, don't jump onto Facebook and expose him or her, or don't make it a big issue. Try to cover it up and try to advise him or her, and inshallah ta'ala you will see some progression. So we thank brother, or I should say Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, for that beautiful comment, and we look forward to more of his work. The next scholar that works with Huda TV and has a beautiful statement is Dr. Bilal Phillips. And listen to what he has to say. No matter how busy you are, if you really care about Salah, you will never miss it. Beautiful. Concise, but very powerful. Dr. Bilal Phillips is encouraging us very strongly to be alert and aware about our prayers. And that fits beautifully with the email by Brother Ali, who was asking how he can concentrate in his prayer. If you listen to the words of Dr. Bilal Phillips telling us about the importance and the significance of the prayer, and that once you put it and give it its due value, you will never miss it. So we thank Dr. Bilal Phillips for his contribution, and we look forward to his comments in the future. And then we come to our final words of wisdom from the scholars here at Huda TV, and that comes from our very own respected scholar, Rayan Fawzi Arab. And he has been working very closely with us here. He has recorded a number of different programs. You saw him live on the different programs like Let's Talk and Huda Tonight. And mashallah, he works very hard in the da'wah field. And I can say that for myself. I've seen him working very hard. And he says, Alhamdulillah, our team got 28 people to accept Islam in the last weekend. May Allah bless them and keep them steadfast. SubhanAllah, Brother Rian is very active when it comes to da'wah. Unbelievable how one man can do so much work. Not just that, but he also now has 28 people accepting Islam from the efforts of him and his team. Dear viewers, that is a point of encouragement for all of us. every single one of us can work that hard and get the reward of these people who are taking or embracing Islam, these reverts to Islam. And we've had on our live programs on Huda tonight a number of reverts to Islam, and they gave their stories, very emotional stories, very powerful stories about how they came to Islam. So brothers and sisters, let's take these words of wisdom, let's put them into action, and inshallah ta'ala next week we'll try to get a new compilation of these quotes and try to bring them to you here on Viewers Pulse. Now dear viewers, let's go back to the topic of the day. Has anybody got a suggestion? Would anybody like to bring something forward on how we can educate our children correctly? Well, let me begin with a response that we have on our Facebook page on Viewers Pulse, and that comes from Muhammad Ali Guma Al-Afifi, and he responds and he says, we need to communicate with our children. Subhanallah, Brother Mahmoud, your comment is very beautiful, and I totally agree with you that communication is extremely important. Unfortunately, many of us as parents, we don't give our children the due time or the due respect, and we don't communicate them properly. We don't hear about their problems, what they're thinking, what they want to know, and how they can communicate with us. So very beautiful, Brother Mahmoud. We thank you very much for your contribution and telling us about the importance of communication. Now, before I give you some more of my own ideas on how we can improve parenting and how we can be more successful when it comes to our children, I want to move over to a very short report, and this is talking about cosmic proofs, or rather Islamic concepts. Let's start with Islamic concepts, and then we will come to the other report. Let's have a look at this, and then when we come back, we'll give our comments and talk further about Islamic parenting. I'll see you in just a few seconds.
Today, this day will be the concept of remembrance of Allah, dhikr. Dhikr is amongst the most unique concepts in Islam. It's a deciphering point of one's rank in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. To understand the virtue of dhikr, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to his companions in a setting, and he said to them, "Ala ukhbirukum bi khayri a'malikum?" Should I not inform you of the most virtuous and bountiful of your deeds? This is how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would catch the attention of his companions, to inform them what is beneficial for them. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam further on said, وَأَرْفَعِهَا فِي دَرَجَاتِكُمْ, and what will raise you in ranks and levels. وَأَزْكَاهَا عِنْدَ مَلِيكِكُمْ, and what will bring you into a state of being righteous in the sight of your Lord, your Creator. Malikikum. Malik is one of the most beautiful names of Allah, Al-Malik, the Supreme King. And even better than meeting your enemy, or even better than spending gold and silver, better than meeting your enemy in the battlefield and fighting for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course the companions in this case, they were curious, they wanted to know. So they said to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, "Yes, O Messenger of Allah, tell us, what is this act or this deed that would give us this high rank in comparison to all these virtuous deeds? Nothing stands besides it." So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says in a simple answer, dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah. To remember Allah continuously is amongst the most virtuous acts in the deen of Islam. And the irony behind it is that it's the most easiest act that can be performed by anyone at any time, given any age, young, old, however the situation is, even people who aren't physically able to move, they can remember Allah. The remembrance of Allah stems from the heart, is uttered by the tongue, and is known by being conscious of what's being said. When these three concepts, the mind, the heart, and the tongue, are combined, this is where the remembrance of Allah is at its highest point. But even remembering Allah by tongue, this is a virtue by itself. Remembering Allah in the heart is a virtue. To combine both is to perfect it further.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, after watching a very short report there talking about the remembrance of Allah. And one of the things that the Shaykh mentions which really struck my heart is the fact that doing dhikr or remembering Allah is one of the easiest things you can do, but yet it is one of the most rewarding things that you can do. SubhanAllah, how can a Muslim possibly refrain from doing that? How can he abstain from doing the most easiest thing and get the maximum reward? And one of the things I would recommend for all our viewers to do immediately is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the morning adhkar and the evening adhkar. The remembrance of Allah in the morning when you wake up, and the remembrance of Allah when you go to sleep. Don't forget those two very important ways of remembering Allah. Not just that, but let us go back to our topic of the day, and that is raising our children correctly. Now we have a comment from Sister Fairuz, and she makes mention of the following point. The parents should teach their children the Quran and Sunnah. Even instill in them the love of Allah and His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This will make them have the best manners, because the Quran and the Sunnah are the best way to raise one's children. Excellent. What beautiful advice from Sister Fairuz, encouraging us to go back to the Quran, going back to the Sunnah, looking at the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and you will find that he is the best role model. He is the best example for all of us in all things. Let me tell you a very short story, and this is an amazing story, that once the Prophet ﷺ was playing with his grandchildren Hassan and Hussein, and he was kissing them. Then a Bedouin walked past and saw the Prophet ﷺ kiss his grandchildren, and he became amazed. He was shocked, and he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, O Prophet of Allah, do you kiss your children? And the Prophet was amazed, said, of course. And then this person responded and said, I have 10 children and I have never kissed a single one of them. The Prophet ﷺ became very upset. And at this point we understand where he made mention that the person who does not show mercy, he will not be shown mercy in return. So my dear viewers, the Prophet ﷺ used to kiss, used to play, used to hold hands. Hassan and Hussein, his grandchildren, would jump on his back and play with his hair, play with his beard. And this was the way the Prophet ﷺ treated his children. So what a beautiful story. What a way and how we should be with our children, not always strict and rigid and hard and harsh, but rather be like the Prophet ﷺ, who would hug and play with his children. So, dear viewers, we have those comments on that particular issue, and our Facebook page is open, so you can continue to contribute on our page. Not just that, but also I would also like to remind you about the importance of good companionship. Just like our respected scholars mentioned in one of their quotes, it's important that you put your children through an environment which is constructive, an environment which is positive, which gives them the tools and the skills that they need. That if you put a person in an environment where you have educated people, people that fear Allah, people that are racing to do good deeds, then the child will do exactly that. But if you leave the child to his desires, leave the child to do what he wants, put him in the company of bad people, then of course that effect will go onto your child. The Prophet ﷺ gave the example of a good person is like a person who walks into a perfume store. He just stays there for a little while, comes outside, how is he going to be smelling? He's going to be smelling nice. The example of good company. And the person who walks into a place where steel is made with lots of smoke, walks in and just walks out, how is he going to smell? Not very nice. And that's the example of bad company. Dear viewers, we strongly recommend everybody to take care of their children. It's an amana from Allah. And I would also like to give a very special thank you to those that contributed to our program today. First, thanks goes to Brother Mahmoud. Thank you very much for your fantastic comment. And our second thanks goes to Sister Feiruz, who is very active with Huda TV. Sister Feiruz, we appreciate your comment and thank you very much also. And I would like to conclude here and remind you of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he talked about the importance of a daughter, the one who brings up a daughter on Islamic manners, fearing Allah with the taqwa of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that this person will be protected from the hellfire. Dear viewers, on that we will conclude. And we will see you in our later program tonight on Huda Tonight with our live program, so do stay tuned for that. But for now, on Viewers Pulse, I will conclude and say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We'll talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is